All right, so what has my coach been up to? Oh yeah, he's back to the prison to perpetrating podcast. Is that right? So he nudged Megan to the side. He said, Megan, take a pause on your purpose to prison. Going from purpose to being in prison podcast. Megan, I want you to take a break on that. Okay, Megan? It's not enough that on the one podcast where we fooled the viewers into watching Megan give her supposed inspiration, her supposed motivation. It's not enough that at the end of the video, I had to pop in and say, ha, ha. It's not bad enough that my coach was haunting you heavy Tim followers. He haunted you guys, really. Just when you got comfortable with Megan being in front of the camera. Just when you got comfortable with her doing her own P2P motivation, okay, on how to be stranded on a farm, on how to be imprisoned on a farm, on how to be locked behind the gates, sheltered from society, alienated from your family, okay? Just when we thought we got comfortable with Megan doing her own podcast, near the end, my coach, he saw fit. He said, let me jump in at the end, Megan. You don't do the ha like I do the ha, Megan. So let me jump in at the end. And just when we were watching Megan close it out, doing her little outro at the end, and we were like, oh, we had a good feeling. We had a good feeling in our hearts. And we were like, oh, Megan, go ahead, Megan. Speak that inspiration, Megan. And then at the end, then my coach, Tim, jumped in. He haunted us at the end. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. So what else has he been up to? He's been up to, he did his own. You were telling me he did his own P2P. Is that right? What was he talking about? He was talking about doom and destruction. Really? What was he talking about? A plane crashing? A plane crashing with 40-some people on it and everybody dying on the plane? Were there a few survivors? Really? Okay, but he likened that plane going down and people dying to you letting your dreams die. Is that right? He's talking about doom and destruction. Really? Okay, and he talks about how most of his viewers have the odds stacked against them. And I'm like, okay, well, why do they have the odds stacked against them? Okay, assuming that your motivational speeches and Megan's inspirational speeches have had some value, some type of value. I'm not sure what kind of value, okay? But assuming that they have had some value, shouldn't those people be seeing some type of fruitfulness? Shouldn't they be seeing some type of fruit in their daily lives? So what are you talking about? The fact that the odds are stacked against them. What are we talking about here, Coach? Okay. But you talk about, are people going to just let their dreams die? Or are they going to pursue those dreams? And I'm like, okay, Coach, I absolutely hear what you're saying with regard to the dreams not dying. I thought that this was your podcast. Okay. It seems when you talk about dreams dying, you're reverting back to Megan's podcast. You're reverting back to Megan's story about going from purpose to prison, from having a purpose in the ministry or in the missionary to being imprisoned. And you're talking about Megan's dreams dying. Really, Coach? Really? Okay. Is this some type of backdoor admission on your part? You talk about Megan's dreams dying. Now, certainly she's achieved that one dream that she had about having a husband, having a man to love her. Yes. Having a good, not necessarily a good man. No, not necessarily. Okay. We know she had a dream about having a man to love her and having a man that would marry her. She dreamed of having a husband. And I assume that she dreamed of having kids as well. Okay. And so fortunately, she's been able to achieve that particular dream. But what about her other dreams? I'm certainly she had dreams of a career. Generally, people don't invest in a college education. Generally, people don't invest in getting a graduate degree of some sort and beginning a career and being excited and motivated within their career. Generally, people don't dream of that only to have it snatched from underneath them. And so when you talk about a person giving up on their dreams, I think we're talking about Megan. Certainly, she gave up her career aspirations when somehow you convinced her that it was better for her to spend full time on the farm, okay, or the supposed farm. When you convinced her that somehow she would be able to execute her homeschooling better if she was on the property full time. Megan talked the other day about energy versus time. And we do understand that even though Megan has a good 16 hours in her day, with her doing all the chores, with her doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the schooling, all the business of the IAG, certainly Megan runs out of energy. Okay, she runs out of energy well before she runs out of time. But we do understand, Coach, that when you talk about people not being able to fulfill their dreams, and you talk about, well, are your dreams going to live or to die? Are they going to die? We know that you're referring to Megan, and we know that most of her dreams have died. I'm sure after she got married, she had certain dreams of how her relationship would go, how her marriage would go. And I'm sure that those dreams did not involve stress and strain. Certainly, we all have certain issues in our marriages. We have ups and downs in our marriages. Okay. But in Megan's case, all we see are the downs. All we see are the downs, Coach. Okay. Certainly, you've done better with putting Megan in front of the camera. You've done better with insisting that she smile and put on a good front, put on a good face in front of the camera. So you've gotten better at that, Coach. There's a rumor that you started wearing your wedding ring or your wedding band again to put on a good front, Coach. There's a rumor about that. Okay. But certainly, from what we've seen up to this point, Megan's dreams of having a fulfilling marriage, being fulfilled in motherhood. Okay. Certainly those dreams have died, Coach. So we understand fully. We understand full well what you mean by that, Coach. But has he talked about anything else? Nothing else. Okay. All right. Okay. Before I get to my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about completing some small project or not counting chickens before they hatch. I have to recognize you guys that have been active in the comments. I have to recognize you guys. Keep that dialogue flowing. Keep that commentary going both ways. Of course, I have to recognize you steady Tim supporters. I hear what you guys are saying in the comments. I hear what you guys are saying. Captain. Some captain you are. You're like, Captain, if Tim has been banished, if he's been banished from Resurrection Ranch, so be it. Okay. Okay. He claims that he's been working full time out there. He worked full time out there for 6 months or a year. Okay. Just because he's off on his arithmetic, he's off on his calculations. He has no true understanding of what full time refers to. Okay. If he says he's been working full time, or he worked, past tense, he worked full time at Resurrection Ranch for either 6 months or a year. Okay. If he does not know the difference between 6 months, 8 months, and a year, then so be it, Captain. So be it, Captain. If Tim wants to push off his riding mower onto Grandma Lily, or actually onto the Resurrection Ranch property, push it off onto that property to make space, to make room for his zero-turn mower, then so be it, Captain. So be it. Okay. If he knew what type of repairs were needed on that riding mower that he affectionately calls putt-putt. Okay. Now, he doesn't have any affectionate nicknames for Megan. Okay. So why would he have nicknames for his tools and his machinery? Okay. But anyway, so if he decides he wants to push that off on Grandma Lily, he wants Grandma Lily to partake in the roost, then so be it. No big deal there. Yes. If he wants to stand, if he wants to walk around Grandma Lily's Resurrection Ranch, if he wants to walk around his own Resurrection Ranch property and talk about all the lush grass that we can clearly see with the naked eye. Okay. If you zoom in close, okay. If you zoom in close enough, you can see all this lush grass, all this thick grass. If he wants to call the grass thick and lush, when clearly 50 to 60% of it is dirt, 50 to 60% of it is clay, 50 to 60% of it is bald. If he wants to call it lush and thick, then so be it, Captain. So be it, Captain. I'm like, all right. You guys be wilding in the comments. You guys be wilding. And as long as you guys are continuing to wild in the comments, I'm going to keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to provide my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about counting chickens before they hatch and doing some type of small project around the farm. So I'm going to react to that video here. Tim talks about ever since they built the pig pen down by the mini barn, he's never properly maintained that area, and the pigs have just been pooping, and they've just been adding bedding on top of it, and he estimates there's about a foot deep of bedding and poop in that pen area. Fortunately, my coach has decided to finally give a little bit of attention to those pigs, considering that they ultimately will be going to the slaughterhouse. They ultimately are going to be ground up into some of that delicious rusty meat, some of that delicious dirty sausage that they so enjoy. And so I guess he realized that he needs to maintain it a bit, just to make sure that those hogs can live somewhat of a healthy existence. Okay. And so it looks like he has those boys down there ready to work. He has them down there ready to work and to literally wallow in the muck, to literally wallow in the poop and the pee, wallow in the poop and the pee from those hogs, at least a couple years worth of poop. But the boys are down there to assist my coach because, of course, he could not do it without any help. He could not do it without any assistance. And so we'll just have to wait and see what the boys' role will be in this particular task.
Automatic hog feeder, and it's time for them to be for this pen to be expanded. And I kind of have the idea because we've moved some animals around. We moved the black hogs from out here. And I was going to give the feeder hogs this whole section right here so they can kind of rotationally graze themselves. And because pigs don't boo-boo all over the place. They pick one spot and they drop their manure. And then the goal is to come in with wood chips and cover up that manure, once a week, twice a week, something like that. But we've just kind of been behind and hadn't had a chance to do it. And so we actually have come in here and we deep bedded this whole pen probably about two or 3 weeks ago. But it's rained and it's time to deep bed it again. But we don't have any wood chips right now, and I got to go pick up some. But until then, we had this pen right here. And as you can see, this pen has been resting. I was going to bring the tractor in and scoop all this stuff out because it's probably about a foot or 2, foot and a half, something like that, of deep bedding in here that has broken down and is ready to be piled up so we can compost it and have it ready for the garden for next year. But it's grass growing in here. And I said I at least first let them come in and eat this little grass, till it up and everything and make it easier to scoop out. And then I can come in and take this cattle panel down and then bring the tractor in here and scoop all this stuff out. And I also can scoop out all the way through because I never have, since we built this pen right here, I've never scooped out the deep bedding out of this pen. I just kept on adding and adding and adding. So it's time to scoop out the deep bedding in this pen as well.
Tim talks about there's about 1.5 feet of material, 1.5 feet worth of poop. And I guess that sounds about right. He talks about digging out the cattle panel. 1.5 feet of poop. What must that smell like? Okay. And what type of conditioning would your boys have to undergo in order for them to tolerate that smell, for them to tolerate that stench? Okay. Holy moly. Talk about farm hands. But he claims, first of all, he brought the shovels down. We saw Tim doing a little bit of work early. We saw him collecting the shovels and what have you, collecting the wagon and collecting some of the hog feed. But he indicated that the boys said, "Oh, we'll shovel out the 1.5 feet worth of poop, the 1.5 feet worth of bedding. We'll shovel it out so you can free up that cattle panel." And we're like, okay, when you say boys, you mean even 5-year-old Noah, okay? 5-year-old Noah, who can barely handle a spoon, okay, can barely handle a fork when he's eating his meals. So he can barely scoop out his cereal, okay? He can barely scoop up his salad or whatever he's eating in the kitchen. He can barely scoop up his ice cream. And you're telling me that little Noah offered to shovel out 1.5 feet worth of material, compacted material, much of which is poop, okay? Hard to believe, Coach. We're certain that in this situation, we're certain that you insisted that those boys come down and join you. Whether you pulled them out from their homeschooling, we're not sure. You claim that you got an early start. And so we're not sure at this point whether it's before or after breakfast. We're not sure if this is some of their supposed vocational training for the day. But all we know is that it's going to be a poop-filled day, yes? A poop-filled day for those boys. So we'll stay tuned. We'll have to watch this one, Coach. It should be interesting.
Well, and what my goal today is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everything on the perimeter as it is. But I'm going to try to come in here and dig out this cattle panel here because it has about, like I say, about a foot, foot and a half of material at the bottom that's covering up the bottom. So I have my shovels and everything. The boys saying, we'll shovel it out for your dad. And I said, nah, boys, y'all might not be able to handle this job because this, I'm hoping that everything should be pretty soft. And I'm hoping it won't be too hard, but I'm ready to grind and grit my teeth and get it done, whether it's hard or not. But yeah, so you can see the little grass in here. And the pigs, they'll enjoy this little area, rooting through this grass. And it should be all type of acorns because we have a pecan tree here. So it should be pecans that are falling out that pecan tree in here. And then we have an acorn tree or oak tree here. So it should be acorns in here. So they're going to have a good time rooting through all of this. There's going to be plenty of food, acorns, pecans, grass, roots, earthworms, and all that type of stuff. So they're going to root through all this and eat all that stuff. And then once they're done, after about a week or two, I'll probably come in, like I say, and take down this cattle panel and then bring the tractor in, scoop out all this stuff, and then add a new layer of wood chips and deep bedding and things.
All right. So fortunately, our coach, he informs us that this is later in the afternoon. He tells us that Megan is off doing, I guess, some doctor's appointments with little Benjamin. So fortunately, Megan was able to escape, at least momentarily, she was able to escape from the farm. And of course, we know that Megan does not escape without at least one of the boys in tow. Okay. But in this case, she had an excuse because there was a doctor's appointment for little Benjamin. And how could my coach, how could he dispute that? Okay. How could he cancel? How could he veto her leaving the house, leaving the supposed farm for the sake of little Benjamin? So, but my coach, he informed us that this is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have to take him at his word. Okay. Although his word is usually faulty, we're going to take him at his word on this one. We're going to assume that the boys already had their breakfast. Actually, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we would like to assume they already had their lunch. He talked about how they were just in the house chilling and relaxing, watching some movies. Okay. And by movies, we know that you mean that the boys were in the house being indoctrinated with IAG Farms YouTube films. Okay. All right. IAG Farms YouTube movies. AKA IAG Farms YouTube videos, and sprinkled with just a little bit of Resurrection Ranch and just a touch of the P2P motivation, so those boys would learn how to optimize their potential, and so the boys would learn how not to recidivize. Can you imagine that? Teaching young boys how not to return to the penal system, how not to return to prison. You're going to teach those young boys that at an early age. Okay. All right. Interesting concept. But you talked about how they were inside chilling, and now you have them out at the pig pen, getting ready to do some of the dirty work, literally dirty work, as in they should have on pants. Okay. Just like you have on pants, those boys should have on pants. Otherwise they're going to have poop all over their skin. But I assume because the boys did a good job with their chores earlier in the day, you're rewarding them now, okay, or punishing them. I'm not sure which one it is. You're rewarding them with allowing them to wallow in the muck, okay, get up in there with the stench and the poop and the disease, okay, get up in there. And so what type of reward, what type of punishment is this for the boys? I'm not sure, okay, but you try to give us the impression that the boys have been looking forward to this. I'm going to have to doubt that one, Coach. Okay, I don't want to call cap on it, Coach. I don't want to call cap. But I'm going to doubt it on this one, Coach. I'm going to doubt that they were looking forward to this. Okay, Coach? But whatever you say, Coach.
That's the plan for today. Like I said, I'm not trying to do too much. Like I said, it's already like 4 o'clock in the evening. We got started this morning. We got started early because we actually had a baby sheep born this morning. But after that, We had some doctor's appointments for Benjamin, and Mama Megan went and did that, and the boys and I, we sat around and watched movies and chilled out for real, and enjoyed ourselves for a couple hours. Now we're back out here ready to get going, and like I said, just doing a smaller project, because it just seems like, especially once the summertime comes, it's like all these projects, it's like you just don't have enough time to do everything that you want to do in the day. And even though you get up early, even though you go to bed late, like I said, I was working on editing some videos last night, and y'all know I'm doing 39 videos in 31 days. That's my editing schedule now. So we got if y'all not subscribed to the Prison of Purpose Godcast, make sure you go over there and subscribe, because we put out 5 videos Monday through Friday every single week. So we're putting out 20 videos over there, and then our goal is to put out between 12 and 15 videos on this channel, IAG Farms, and then put out a video once a week on the Resurrection Ranch, where it's still all about God over there. But anyway,
Tim talks about trying to maximize the spring, summer, and fall time before winter comes around again. He talks about handling these small projects, these mini projects around the farm. But only moments before that, he talked about his 39 videos in 31 days. He talked about him editing late into the night. And Coach, although you are proud of the 39 videos that you're putting out versus 39 projects that you are not completing, okay, we do understand that it takes a lot of time. It takes immense time commitment to edit that quantity of videos, Coach. And so for us to believe, I mean, anyone other than your heavy Tim followers, to believe that you have time to edit 39 videos, not including the filming time, okay? Not including the scripting time. But for your heavy Tim followers to believe that you have time to do all of that filmmaking and that editing and that posting, and yet have time to complete projects, true projects around the farm, is absolute lunacy, Coach. Okay? We know where your time commitment is going. Okay? And certainly it's not toward this supposed farm. Okay, Coach? At this point, it looks like you're only chipping in on projects where the boys cannot handle it, or where you deem or where you overestimate that the boys can handle certain projects. That seems like the only time that you step in, considering that Megan is somewhat out of commission until she completes her recovery from her hernia surgery. Okay. Coach, you talk about maximizing this time around the farm. By your own admission, you've been maximizing your time around the YouTube. Okay, Coach? So which is it, Coach? Is it the farm or is it the YouTube, Coach? Which is it? Okay, we know it's a struggle. All right. And we know you get a certain amount of donations from the supposed farm. Okay, we know you get a certain amount of donations from the defunct ministry. I know you get a certain amount of funding from that. But we understand that the majority of your income is coming from YouTube, Coach. And so for those observant, discerning viewers, we understand that it's not really a balancing act. We understand that when you're trying to maximize your time, we clearly understand that the YouTube is dominating, Coach. All right. The YouTube is dominating. Clearly, Coach.
I'm gonna go ahead and get to work. Like I said, we got probably about 2 hours of sunlight left, and so we're on a time schedule today. But I think I can get it done. Like I said, my one goal, I had one goal for today, and it's to dig out this cattle panel. Like I said, we got to keep those goals simple. Dig out this cattle panel, get it pulled up, and expand the pigs section, because I actually need to, like, if I can get done with that fast enough, I can add on another goal, because we got some things we need to be doing tomorrow as well. So like I said, it's just, it's spring, summertime. It's time for the farm to jump off. We had to maximize these spring, summer, and fall months before wintertime comes back. So
Tim talks about how he only had to dig around the posts or the end posts. He didn't have to dig around the cattle panels. But now he admits that there could easily be 2 feet, 2 feet of poop, okay, accumulated. All right, 2 feet of poop, okay, and the boys are watching him work initially. And I can't help but notice that these boys, not only do they not have any safety, any health and safety equipment or attire on, okay, they're walking around with no sleeves, They're walking around in shorts. They don't have on any gloves. I see my coach has gloves. They don't have any gloves. And they're right in the midst of the poop, okay? Right in the midst of the squalor. Fortunately, we all know that pigs don't have any types of diseases, okay? They don't develop any diseases or any infestations, okay? Fortunately, fleas are not drawn to pigs, yes? They could be. It's possible. And it could be diseases, yes? We're talking about like fecal diseases? Really? And the boys are just out there with their bare skin. Really, having fun. Not having fun? This was their reward? This was their punishment. Whichever the coach says, whichever he says, okay. All right, we'll have to see how this plays out. We'll have to see how it plays out.
So far, like I said, it's a little bit humid out here in Mississippi on the 1st of April. Today is April 1st. But I think I got all the nails out, and I think I got all of the clips taken off the T-post. So now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull it out the ground. I told the boys, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Something my granddaddy told me a long time ago. But I'm hoping that we have everything loose and that I don't have to dig down too much more deeper. I really didn't have to dig down too deep already. Like I said, I just had to dig down deep, really where the post on the ends were. So I'm hoping that I didn't attach those T-posts to the cattle panel deep down, 2 foot in the ground. But we'll see.
Tim informs us that he has to dig deeper, deeper into the poop. Okay, he indicates that maybe he has to go down an additional foot. Okay, so what are we talking about? 3 feet worth of poop? Okay, 3 feet worth of neglect. A pig pen that's been unmaintained for years. Okay, so he's digging deeper. And fortunately, the boys are not involved in the nonsense. Fortunately, the boys are just there as observers. Just out there having their little fun family farm time, fun family poop time. But of course, we could not help but notice that the twins, were actively observing, actively offering little advice for their dad. The twins. And you're like, okay, what twins? I know you're saying what twins. You didn't know they had twins? Of course, I'm talking about the twins, Titus and Noah. Okay, even though one of them is 7 and one of them is 5. Apparently, they're twins. Okay, in my coach's mind. And apparently with whatever he's convinced Megan of, those boys are twins. Now, we already have noticed from time to time, not from time to time, all the time, he lumps the boys together as being one entity, as being one body. Yes? Remember how he talked about intertwining the string? He talked about intertwining the little twigs. Well, that's exactly what he's done with the boys. He's got those boys intertwined. And so as such, they represent one offspring, one child, one son, okay? Mentally, they represent one child, one son. Remember, they're all going to graduate when they're 16, which means when Tim Jr. is 16, okay? And when Tim Jr. is 16, that means that Titus will be around 14 and little Noah will be around 12. But the education for all of them is cutting off at 16, okay? But in these shots near the pig pen, near the pigsty, we notice that the twins have made yet another appearance. Okay, yet another time we see Titus and Noah dressed up in the same clothing. All right, we know that this clothing came from the donors, the faithful Tim followers, the steady Tim supporters. We know that these donations came from them. Okay, but good gracious, okay, even if your donors, coach, even if your donors don't realize that those boys are not twins, they're not even the same age. Even if they don't realize it, then certainly, coach, you know that those boys are not twins. Stop dressing them up as twins. They are not twins. They're separate individuals with separate personalities, okay, separate capabilities, separate aspirations, separate inspiration. Okay, coach? You can't force them to be one, coach. Okay? Let those boys be individuals. Okay? Let them grow up individually. Let them work collectively. But let them grow up individually, coach. Okay, coach?
I think we missed a nail. I think it might be another nail down about probably about a foot on this post over here. Because everything is loose. I don't have any T-post in there. And I know that post down there is loose. So I bet it's probably a nail down there. Probably about a foot down that I can't see. So I think we missed a nail. I think it might be another nail down about probably about a foot on this post over here. Because everything is loose. I don't have any T-post in there. And I know that post down there is loose. So I bet it's probably a nail down there. Probably about a foot down that I can't see. So I think we missed a nail. I think it might be another nail down about probably about a foot on this post over here. Because everything is loose. I don't have any T-post in there. And I know that post down there is loose. So I bet it's probably a nail down there. Probably about a foot down that I can't see.
Tim talks about the reason why he tries to work on small projects and not big projects is so that he does not get overwhelmed mentally. Okay, all right. So he works on these small projects that he can fit in between his editing, which of course is his main priority. But small projects, he talks about how he does not have an overseer. Okay, and we're like, okay, coach, we know that you don't go to church, coach. Okay, we know that you're not under the covering of any bishop. You're not under the covering of any local body, as you refer to them. So we do understand that you're your own overseer. You're your own interpreter. Okay, you interpret the scripture, you interpret the Bible for Megan and the boys. But for yourself, we do understand that you oversee yourself. Okay, but you go on to talk about how you're the manager, you're the supervisor, you're the owner. And what have you. And we're like, okay, well, what happened to Jesus being in charge? Okay. What happened to Jesus being the overseer? Okay. What happened to God being the overseer? Okay. But you're saying, okay, you're in control of everything. And I'm like, okay, are we back to this Jesus complex again, coach? Okay. Considering that you are an ex-pastor, considering that you are running or operating this channel that is supposedly all about God, why would you admit that you're your own overseer? Okay, isn't God the ultimate overseer? Okay, isn't God the ultimate cover? Isn't your direction supposed to be coming from God? Okay, you claim that from time to time, God set you and Megan down and gave you guys your vision, gave you guys your supposed marching orders. But now all of a sudden you're the overseer. You're controlling your own fate. You're controlling your own destiny. You're in charge of everything, coach. Hey, coach.
It's a workout now, for real. It's not easy. And that's what I was telling the boys. You get into a project like this, and it seems like, oh yeah, let me just take these T-posts down, pull this cattle panel out. But I know better. I know that, like, go ahead and say, let me just focus on this one project. Don't have all these big lofty goals. Because what happens is when you build those big lofty goals, you end up like when you're not able to get to them and you just get one thing done. And even that one thing, like getting this cattle panel down and opening this paddock up for the pigs, even though that's a huge success, like that's good enough for today. We'll live to fight another day. But if I build myself up too much and say, well, I'm gonna do this real quick, then I'm gonna go do that real quick, then I'm gonna go do that real quick, and you end up only doing one thing, then you feel like a failure at the end of the day. And I learned a long time ago that I have to like set goals that I can accomplish in the day, because my life, like the pig's starting to come over now. Come on over, pigs, to y'all's new paddock. Don't knock over my camera stand. But I learned that because I have so much going on and I oversee my own life. I don't have somebody else, overseeing me and telling me what to do, and I'm not clocking in and clocking out. And so it ends up being like that. Like I say, when you're providing oversight, that you have to like oversee everything. And so those things can become overwhelming. Like I'm the manager, the supervisor, the boss, the superintendent, quality control, like all those things. And so, you just have.
Coach talks about the reason why he sets these small projects, or the reason why he sets these small goals, is not just because he only has the aptitude for small things, not just because he only has the stamina for small things. He only has the fortitude, the wherewithal for small things, not just because he only has motivation, not just because he has some ADHD issues in there and he can't focus on anything of any significance. But he talks about setting these small tasks so that at the end of the day, he can feel like he's been a success. I'm like, okay, coach, that's understandable. When you get to the end of your day and you realize that you have not accomplished anything, you get to the end of the day and you realize that Megan's done all of the cooking, the cleaning, the nurturing, the feeding, the schooling, the business. When you realize all that Megan does in the course of a day, and you compare that to what you do or what you've done, a couple of small projects and some YouTube videos, certainly, Coach, we understand why you have a complex, feeling like you have not been successful for that day. All right. If you have not had a significant hand, a substantial hand in the raising of those boys for that day, in the boys' education for that day. Okay. Just because Megan has the quote unquote, she has the responsibility for the quote unquote homeschooling doesn't mean that you're not responsible for the education and the development that those boys receive at home. Okay. All right. So there's homeschooling and then there's education at home, Coach. And so we understand that considering that you stand by and you let Megan run the house, you let Megan run the household, the operation of the household, the education of the boys. We do understand why oftentimes at the end of the day, when you look back, you realize that you have not accomplished anything for the day. Okay, we do understand why you have a complex. And we do understand why it's a lack of success complex, Coach. Okay. But keep doing those small tasks, Coach. Keep doing those small projects, Coach. Yes, Coach. Do the things that you can handle, Coach. Okay. Every little bit matters. Not much, but it matters. Very little.
Set small goals and accomplish those small goals one at a time, and then you can feel successful at the end of the day. Because going to bed at night feeling like a success is important every single day. Like I said, you don't want to feel like you failed at something every single day, because it's like then that's where you get overwhelmed. You know, that's where that word overwhelmed comes in. But I'm not overwhelmed, even though some of the things I'm doing may be overwhelming. I'm not overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying?
Tim, he has a little bit of playful time, and we enjoy seeing that. We enjoy seeing some type of playful interaction with the boys. We prefer for it not to be a camera shoved in their face. But he asked the boys about how the pigs were named, and little Noah, he rattles off the names for the pigs, the names in general. He couldn't point them out. He couldn't point them out. Then we got to Titus, and Titus is trying to point out which one is Squiggly and which one is Dot or Spot, and he's struggling. And rather than my coach and y'all's pastor allowing those boys to develop, okay, you have to let the boys struggle sometime. If they're going to develop their processing, if they're going to develop their vocabulary, develop their communication and their overall literacy, you have to let them struggle and improve. But rather than letting Titus struggle through identifying the pigs, of course, my coach cuts them off. He cuts them off and said, no. That's Squiggly, that's Spot, and that's Dot. Get it right, boys. All right. He talks about how I guess the cousin stopped by and said, well, we should call them Hickory, Dickory, and Doc or what have you. But now, Coach, you have to let those boys grow. Okay. You cannot force growth on those boys. All right, Coach. Let them develop. Let them struggle. Let them persevere, Coach. All right. Certainly, your level of education should not override their education, their learning, and their development, Coach. All right. We do not want to stunt those boys' growth. Okay. We do understand that you've identified that you're going to have twins. Okay. And so some people might see that you're stunting Titus's growth. Okay. Or somehow you're advancing or pushing Noah. Okay. But and you designating those boys to be twins, we do understand that you're stunting somebody's growth. But as far as their development, their processing coach, they need all the practice they can get with processing. Okay. Let them be, coach. Let them develop. Let them get better on their own, coach, as far as processing goes, coach. All right. We do want them to be better than you are, coach. Isn't that what all parents truly want, coach? Okay. Most parents are not threatened by their children's education. Most parents are not threatened by their children's development, their children's literacy. Okay. All right, coach. So don't be threatened by the boys. Let them grow. Let them develop on their own, coach. How about that, coach?
Names, if you missed that video when we first bought the pigs, tell them the pigs' name, boys.
Squiggly, Spot, and Dot.
Squiggly, Spot, and Dot.
That one right there is Squiggly, the smartest one. And the one that is right there, the one that is medium, is Spots, I think. No, Dot. And
no, Dot is the barrel. So that's Dot right there. So that's Squiggly is the smallest one. That's Spot, the one with the colors on the side, and then that's Dot right there. And when y'all's cousin Carter came and y'all told him the name of the pigs, what did he say? Because y'all named them Squiggly, Spot, and Dot, and I can't remember what was it. What did he say?
Squiggly, Spot.
He said, why y'all ain't name because it's the mouse set on the clock. I'm trying to remember that nursery rhyme. No, the mouse set on the clock. All I can remember right now is Squiggly, Spot, and Dot. But yeah, I forgot the nursery rhyme. What about the mouse set on the clock? Something. The mouse went up the clock. Get your mouth off my camera stand.
Tim talks about how the pigs, they poop or manure in one spot. But in the same breath, he talks about going in and trying to turn over all the various spots where they've been pooping. Okay. And so they may have intentions on pooping in one spot. But when that poop goes unkept for months and years, certainly they have to expand their little poop spot, or there's poop spots. And so a little bit of a contradiction, coach. We do understand that over the course of years, we do understand that pen is full of poop. Okay. And so, coach, I know you're trying to do some type of damage control. I know you're trying to cover your steps or cover your bases or what have you, as far as farming goes, coach. But we do understand that that pen is full of at least a foot worth of poop. All right. It may have started in one spot initially, coach, but it's stacked. It's packed and it's stacked. Okay, coach. But all right, coach. All right.
On this pen, they're going to have this side over here just as mucky as this side over here after about 2 or 3 days, especially after a rain. But at least it'll get them so they can spread out their manure a little bit more around, because they, like I said, the pigs, they manure all in one spot. They don't just manure around the whole pen. They pick one good spot, and hopefully they'll move that spot and move it to another spot. Like I said, because we'll come in with some wood chips and cover up all the places where they've been manuring already. And like I say, just kind of sanitize the pen a little bit and get it ready for the summer stretch. All right, y'all. With that being said, I think we're done down here for right now. I'm gonna kind of work around the farm just a little bit more, and I might pick y'all up as I do a.
We see Tim putting in some actual work, actual work, coach. How about that? Some actual work. He's actually loading the wood chips onto the wagon. Okay, and it's a good sight to see. Not only is he loading those chips onto the wagon and not forcing Tim Jr. to do the heavy lifting, but he's also dragging the wagon. He's pulling the wagon, that heavy old wagon, behind him. Whereas in recent videos, we've seen the boys struggling to pull the wagon. And congratulations, but not for you, coach, not for you. Congratulations to the reaction channels. Congratulations to you guys. Congratulations for inviting my coach Tim into your comment sections, okay, where he can freely scan through. He can freely sift through the comments and he can see what type of feedback his viewers would be giving him had he not shut down his own comments. But congratulations, guys. You guys have indicated that you want to see Tim doing more of the heavy lifting around there. You want to see Tim not burdening those boys, those young developing boys, not burdening them with all of that manual labor. Not straining Timothy Jr., his young legs, his young knees, his young knees. and not burdening little Titus, or certainly not putting strain on little Noah when it comes to those bags of chips, or dragging the wagon or the hay, etc., etc. Okay, so it was good. It was great to see Tim doing the heavy pushing, the heavy pulling, the heavy lifting, coach. Congratulations, you reactors. Congratulations, you discerning viewers. Congratulations, you observant viewers. Congratulations. Tim tries to convince us non-farmers that the pigs won't smell, or that they don't smell. And he talks about laying down the wood chips over the top of their poop. And I'm like, okay, coach, I thought you said that they pooped in one spot. And we're watching the video, and we're watching this trail of manure, not manure, this trail of wood chips that you're laying down over their manure, their poop. And from what we're seeing, they're pooping all over the pen. All right. But you try to convince us viewers that if you lay down those wood chips once or twice a week, and not neglect the area like you neglected that pig pen down near the mini barn, if you do not neglect the area and you cover it with the wood chips on a regular basis, then they won't smell. And therefore, it will be reasonable to have those pigs up there near the shed shack known as Ernest. Okay. The stench from the pigs will not impede your family's ability to use that shed area as a chill spot. Okay. It will not impede their ability. Yes. If you're only regular in your maintenance of the area. And I'm like, okay, coach, I'll take your word for it. Okay. But certainly we know that they poop everywhere. And certainly we know that if you're responsible for it, if you don't quickly teach those boys how to lay down those wood chips, that area is going to go unkept. It's going to smell. It's going to smell like a pigsty. Okay. But we'll just wait and we'll see, coach. Okay. If that area, that pig pen next to Ernest, stops showing up on the videos, if that area starts being excluded from the footage, from your YouTube, your IAG footage, then we'll know, coach. We'll know. We'll read between the lines, coach. We'll understand that area is going unmaintained, coach. Unmaintained. And we'll understand that area has fulfilled its calling. That area has fulfilled its calling as being the next pigsty of IAG. We'll just wait on it and we'll watch for it, coach.
See, I'm just literally covering up the manure with the wood chips. And if we do this every week, like at least once a week, twice a week, something like that, you will have no smell at all in your pig pens. And so that's why we're able to have our pigs up here right by our barn, up here right by a space where we're gonna be at, because they're not gonna stink at all. Now, guinea hogs are a different breed. That pig just nuzzled at your leg like it was testing you.
I know.
He
Which
nuzzled
one
it
was
and ran
it?
off zip line.
Zip line, yeah.
But guinea hogs are a little bit different. So, you know, this tactic works as well. This, what's the word I'm looking for? This system works as well with bigger hogs and other type of hogs, you know. But with the guinea hogs, it really, really works well. Like I say, even with other pigs, you know, bigger hogs like the feeder hogs we have, if you cover up their manure, you won't have any smell. But with these guinea hogs, like I say, they're not hard on the ground at all because they're a smaller breed of pig. And like I say, you just come in once or twice, you can have a pen this size here, and you don't have to move them at all. Just come in and cover up their manure, and you'll get rid of all of the smell. And like I say, this just works for us double. Watch out, Noah, she's gonna lay down, let her clip your leg. She's trying to lay down.
Tim talks about the role that the wood chips play in breaking down the poop. And I just couldn't help but notice more and more that he's putting down wood chips all over the place, coach. You said they only pooped in one spot, coach. Okay. And by the way, coach, considering that this is the first time that you're laying down those wood chips and that those pigs have been up there at the barn site for days or weeks, okay, we know that stench is in full effect. That stench is prevalent up to this point, coach. Okay, and so we know that you're not responding to this fictional future garden area. That's not your motive, your motivation for putting down these wood chips. Certainly it's the smell, it's the stench that's starting to impede that chill area, Coach. And then, oh, by the way, what are you talking about when you plant your garden next year? Okay, didn't Megan just get on that P2P Nodcast a couple of days ago and say that the garden's going to be a couple of years into the future? Didn't she proclaim it's going to take a couple of years for you guys to start on that garden, start working on that garden? And then now on this video, you're talking about next year, Coach. All right, Coach. Why don't you just get on the next video and just say, hey, never, never. We're going to focus on farm fresh meat. Okay. We're not going to focus on any produce. All right. Because first we heard 2 years. Now we're hearing 1 year. Okay. If we add it all up, Coach, we're coming out with never, Coach. It's a big never on that garden issue, Coach. Convince us otherwise.
For belly scratches over there. We got such gentle gentle pigs. But anyway, this is working for us double because these wood chips are gonna break down into organic matter, and they're gonna help the manure break down into organic matter as well. And so that organic matter is gonna fertilize the soil, and then as the pigs are out here rooting, they're gonna be tilling it in. You know what I'm saying? And so by the time it's time for us to plant a garden in here next year, we just come in with the tiller, you know, and till it all in, roll it all up, and it's like all the plants are just gonna pop up. We don't have to use any unnatural fertilizers or anything like that. So we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, in other words.
See a bunch of ants in that? See a bunch of ants in that?
Mama knocked my wound like.
I be doing you like Noah, giving you that was hydrocortisone cream.
Cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter.
They can't hold a pen.
Right.
Oh.
I be doing you like Noah, giving you that was hydrocortisone cream.
Cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter.
They can't hold a pen.
Right.
Oh.
We see that Megan is back on the camera. She's back behind the camera. Obviously, she's returned from her supposed doctor's appointments for her and or little Benjamin. And although some people would say that she's been busy all morning or all afternoon, when she returned, we know that my coach put her on duty. Okay, he put her right to work. He said, "Megan, you're back. You're back." And Megan's like, "Well, let me tell you how." And he's like, I don't need to hear about your appointment. Okay, you need to come on over here, grab the camera so we can get these vital shots, get these valuable shots of me spreading out these wood chips. Okay, Megan. Okay, I need you to trail me around this pig pen. Follow me, Megan. Follow me closely. Get these action shots of me trying to cover up this poop. Okay, Megan. And oh, by the way, while you're here, Megan, I need for you to tell a couple of tall tales, Megan. Okay. First, I need you to imply that the pigs are pooping in one spot, Megan. Okay. And come up with something clever, Megan. Call it the bathroom. All right. And even though the bathroom is about 1/3 of the pig pen, call it one spot. One spot that consumes 1/3 of the pig pen. All right, Megan? But call that the bathroom, Megan. And then, Megan, if you accidentally pan around to the rest of the pig pen and you notice or the camera picks up the fact that there's yet another area where Tim has spread out the wood chips, just call it the second bathroom. Okay, Megan? So first you proclaimed that they had a bathroom, as in one spot. Okay? Whatever the narrative was, whatever the importance was for you to convince us viewers, you heavy Tim followers, okay, that area was not smelling to high heck. Okay? But now when you pan over and you catch the other area, call it the second bathroom. Okay? Why not just call the entire pig pen a bathroom? Why not? Because that's really what it is. Okay? And if you guys do not stay on top of those poop piles, on a regular basis. I don't know about twice a week. Okay, I'm thinking that you got to stay on top of them daily. If you're going to have that pigsty / pig pen up next to that supposed chill area, okay, if you're going to have it up so close to Emma, aka Hema, if you're going to have it that close to your house, you guys need to stay on top of that manure. Get those wood chips going on probably a daily basis, maybe every other day, but on a regular basis, Megan. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Okay, it smells like crap, and we know it. Okay, we might not have the smell-o-vision, Coach. Okay, but we see it. Okay, and our eyes do not deceive us. Okay, Megan, we know it smells the high heck up in that pen, up next to that barn, and even closer, inching closer to your house, inching closer to your mobile home, Megan. So just tell it like it is, Megan. Just tell it like it is.
So he's got this section. He's got this section here completely covered. It was a lot of manure here. So this was like essentially their bathroom spot. And now he's got all of the wood chips covered up. He's used the wood chips to cover up all of the manure. So you can see here, it just looks like wood chips on the ground. And then there was a section over here that they had 2 bathrooms. This was the back bathroom, but he's got all the manure here covered up in wood chips as well. And it'll just break down in place. And this will encourage them to keep using this area as a bathroom because it's clean now, because they like to,
Cameraman or camera woman Megan, she talks about coming back with wood chips in a week or so. Okay, all right. Okay, how much poop? How much poop can a pig poop in a week's time? Certainly in a week or so. Now, if they've only been up there for a week, we see how much poop they've been putting out. All right. And so if you come back in a week or so, that entire pig pen area will be covered with poop. And similar to your service of that, your septic system, we understand that the only reason why you went out and changed the chlorine tablets is because the stench became unbearable. It became unbearable. And the kids were wondering, hey, Dad, why does our backyard smell like poop? Okay. And they're like, no, that's not pig poop. That's not chicken poop. That's not dog poop we smell. Okay. That's not the raccoon or the possum poop. Okay. That's human poop. And they're like, why does it smell like human poop in the backyard? And we know that that was your indication. That's what spurred you to go out and actually change those chlorine tablets. But with this new pig pen / pigsty, are you only going to be spurred into action? Okay. Are you only going to be thrust into action once that area once again starts to smell like a pigsty? Okay. You're going to wait a week or so to put down more wood chips? Holy goodness. Holy goodness. Now, Megan, you talk about how big this future garden will be. This garden that will come up, will be planted in a year or 2 years or never. And Megan, I don't care which corner of that garden space you crawl into in order to film the area. It looks like it's about as big as anyone else's backyard. Okay. And so it truly will be just a garden. I thought you guys were in the business of farming. Okay. And so if you're in the business of farming, then you have to be above. You got to be a little bit greater than being in the business of gardening. Okay. Anybody can be in the gardening business. Okay. But you guys are supposedly IAG Farms. Yes. And viewers tune in to watch some farming. Okay. You guys have been neglected. You've been neglectful as far as the farming goes. Okay. For those viewers that have been tuning in to watch the farming, now you guys have shifted the focus and you're merely going to do gardening. Okay. And so I'm guessing that there must be a name change coming next season. Okay. Next season, rather than going with the moniker of being IAG Farms, I'm guessing you guys will have to change the names to being IAG Gardens, okay, or IAG Garden. All right. Go ahead. You can take the name. It's just a suggestion. Go ahead and take it. Go ahead and use it for whatever donations it's good for. Okay, Coach?
Be clean. So once this area fills up, they'll go to another area. But if you cover it in wood chips, they'll continue to go to the bathroom here, and we'll just come back with more wood chips in a week or so, cover it up again, and you know, they'll continue, the wood chips will continue to break down the manure, and you won't have a smell. So they've been in this pen for about a week now. It's just coming up on a week that they've been in this pen in this area. We have a porta hut set up for them here where they will have their babies. We got 3 mamas over here and 1 barrow. So that's 4 pigs total that we have in this large pen. And it's quite a good size. We're going to have a garden in here like we've been talking about eventually. But let me just pan around and show y'all just how big the entire area is. So I'm not even all the way in the corner of this section. And we've got a fairly large porta hut here in the middle. And there's still room on the sides here and then behind me as well.
But all right. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about doing small projects around the farm that allows him to get some type of self-affirmation, some type of feeling of accomplishment when he's really just chasing his tail, when he's really just walking or running in circles, okay? But he talks about focusing on small projects so that he will not have to accept the fact that he's been unsuccessful daily. So he would not have to come to grips with the fact that he's been a failure on a regular basis. So he's focusing on these small tasks, these small projects. But that's it for my reaction. Please like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Chop it up in the comments. Burner, Tim, Heavies, I'll meet you guys in the comments as usual. I want to thank those that have shown me the love by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for showing me that love. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.